Hey there, folks. Welcome to another month's discussion. This month, we are talking about how to build your own business in this ever-growing online world of self-made millionaires. Joining me this month is my friend Steve, also known as Majiczenith.
Hello.
Steve is a actual businessman himself, if you'd like to give us a little history behind that.
I'm in the health and wellness business. It's an online business where I have my own store. But business actually gets bigger and more money comes in when I actually get more people involved. And the thing with my business thing is I can build it pretty much anywhere in the world if I wanted to. So that's how it operates. But a big thing about business is especially if you want to go for like a big business, is you want to have a big network.
Yes, that is definitely key in pretty much anything, really. Without a community of people, what are you really, like selling or promoting or, whatever the case is? Any business needs not only customers, but also partners and supporters.
It's really tough, so that's why it's important for you to get yourself out there. But I've also learned that there are good ways to getting out there and bad ways to getting out there.
Okay, what are some of the good and bad ways? Let's do a pros and cons list here.
All right. Okay. So the good ways of getting out there is you want to be respectful. You want to have yes, you want to show that you're an entrepreneur, but at the same time, though, if you don't have respect for who you're for who you're trying to do business with and who you're trying to market yourself to. And if you talk too much about yourself, it will actually turn away. A good business owner actually is a person that listens more than he talks, because he wants to understand a person's needs and there's more of a connection if if you're listening to what their concerns are, and then you actually have, because you listened, you know how to address them. And some cons actually would be someone that's probably a bit too forceful. Now, obviously, and I'm not talking about like forceful to the point where like a big media giant will just like push their product right in your face. I'm talking about like something like along the lines of where you're either an independent business owner or you're a small business owner, and you want to and you don't exactly have like the funds and the financing to really just throw your products right in people's face. So you have to be very careful with how you market it, because like if you do bad business where you're just like forcing things onto people and being too forceful, then that will actually turn people away, and word gets around very, very easily, especially on the day with social media. So it's tough. So you have to be careful about what you do. You have to be smart, and you have to choose your words carefully. So that's why it's best to take a listen approach over talking out of your ass approach. Am I allowed to swear on here?
I don't care.
Yay!
Do what you want.
All right.
Yeah, definitely. Like my side of things is actually more on the the being in a business. Like I've had too many jobs probably, but I've part of being a business student. Again, I'm on the the student side of things.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I bring the professionals in. The big part of that is I see how all these different businesses run and things like that, and the training each side gives, and consistently the one thing that everyone says is to know your consumers' wants and give them that, basically. You do want to try to, steer them in your direction. Like when I worked for Samsung, they always said, if they're adamant about an Apple product, pass them off to someone that can sell them an Apple product. Mm-hmm. But try to find a way for your product to fit their needs. Don't push your product on them, but, ask them what they want, and then say, oh, well, this product, can do this for you, and this for you. That meets your three needs. Is that suitable for you?
Mm-hmm.
And if they say no, that's fine. Not everyone is going to want your product or your service or whatever the case is. But if it is, then you might have, sold them on something that they didn't know about otherwise because you listened to them and helped them in a way that benefited both of you rather than, selling them on something that they didn't want. They return it and you've just made someone angry. So the people, as far as like the people on your side, but also the people that might be against you are everything, because you want more people on your side than, not on your side. If you look at Amazon reviews, all it takes is a little bit of bad word of mouth and suddenly no one's wanting your product because of the star rating. Mm-hmm. It's all just word of mouth.
Yep, absolutely. Well, basically, with me, with my business is, first and foremost, who makes more money, business owner or salesperson? So, as a business owner, I have to try and, keep a very fine line between being a salesperson, because if I'm trying to sell people on something, it can come off as a bit too forceful, and because it's my own business, and I have to be very careful with my business's image. I have to be more of a sharing. I have to take a sharing approach rather than a selling approach, because a lot of times a salesperson is selling something that people don't need.
Mm-hmm. If they need it, you don't need to sell it.
Yeah, but I'm actually kind of lucky because it's a lot of stuff that I actually sell is things that people need every day. Like, for example, my deodorant, my body wash, shampoo, my drink that I'm drinking right now, my supplements that I take. I'm like throwing everything at the camera. I got like cleaning products, like I got the whole shebang.
And suddenly this is an infomercial. Just do your thing. I'll be here.
It needs a song. It needs a song and a dance too.
But that is kind of a good point. Is last month we discussed marketing, and business is like 9/10 good marketing. If you want to start something that's going to be successful, you need to be able to put it out there into the world and make people want it. The same works with, something like YouTube. People think that they can just get on YouTube and make money doing it. Finally, let me cover up all the information. I finally got my thing from Google. That's the AdSense support. Saying that I basically made like $10 on YouTube and can sign up for my little AdSense account that gives me like a W-2 and I can, do all that stuff. After a little over a year, I made $10. You can't just get on YouTube and make a business out of it. You have to have business sense from the start. Like even the big people, they might make pretty good money from the ad revenue. But they've got, a store with merchandise. They've got other, like, deals where they do, like, commercials and like, promotions and things like that. That's where they get all their money from. That's how they can afford a crew and things like that. So, YouTube itself is a business, but people on YouTube are not necessarily in the business to make money. They are making a business around their YouTube content. And I think that's kind of key. Yeah,
because it's like your brand. It's you want to be zero score. You want to basically show, okay, this is zero score. This is how I do things. This is how I market myself. And it's like you don't think about it at first, but it's certain business principles that we take part of, that we apply, especially when you're really serious about like doing YouTube, because after a while you might not know what you're doing, but then give it some time, everything actually becomes kind of formulaic.
How do you mean?
At first, I would actually just upload whenever I had time, whenever I wanted to do something. But now it's more like I plan out my day, plan about when I'm going to actually record, when is actually the best time, like the optimal time of when to actually upload it, and also same thing when it comes to tags, and if there's any like certain people that I actually will say this, I'm actually kind of choosy when it comes to people I collab with.
Oh,
yeah. But yeah, and it's basically, if you think about it, when it comes on the business side of things, because you want to plan how you spend time, because time management and focus especially focus is actually one of the toughest thing, like one of the lacking skills that people have in the 21st century. So having the right amount of focus to say if you really, really want, well, on the YouTube side of things, you want to really make sure that you if you have if you set yourself a certain quota of, I want to get this many videos done in a week and this many and I want to have them released for this certain amount of time, and as well as being able to budget like even how long they are and even how well edited they are and how much time you're going to spend with them. That's, if you think about it, that's kind of business. That's why I think, formulate, because you don't think about those things when you start, but after a while, you get kind of like a business mindset, because you are you become really proud of your ideas. You take proud ownership of your ideas.
Yeah, and I think that is one nice thing about YouTube being free, is everyone can get into it. And, the price of entry is essentially the investment of the equipment. Granted, I didn't, start out with all of this stuff. I started in my bedroom with the computer I still use, crappy little $20 mic, a few other things. You start with whatever you can, and then you kind of build that, which is just how business works too. Some people start in their garage and, become Microsoft. But it really does teach you some things. If you look into your, I've mentioned this before, but if you look into your analytics, you're learning all about the numbers side of business. How to reach your audience, things like that. That's all important business numbers. If
you really want to try and improve your content, and if you want to improve the entertainment quality, yes, you want to look at things like hardware upgrades and whatnot, but then you start looking within yourself about, what can I do? How can I tweak myself when I'm actually recording or streaming, and what can I do with to actually improve the quality of my stuff. Obviously the biggest factor is just time and experience, but that's just common practice for just about if you want to ever get good at anything. And it even goes for the business side of me. You do need practice, you do need to study, you do need to research. So with YouTube, if you give it some time, you figure out what you want to change, what you want to mix up to get better. To be what you would find would be more entertaining, but at the same time, I like to keep it honest. So do something that's within your means, something that is not out of character for you. And, try and look within to see exactly how you can improve your YouTube. So that's why when you translate it to the business skills, because you do need to talk to people. I find that all the talking that you do on YouTube, especially when it's to yourself or with other people when doing collabs, it actually really does make a good difference. Yeah, if you've ever had,
a really nerve-wracking interview for a job that you really want, and you're you're talking yourself up in the mirror, you're okay, what are they going to go over? What do I need to be prepared for? All this stuff. That's YouTube commentary right there.
Yeah.
All this talking to a camera, even right now, I'm obviously not with Zenith, spoilers. But we're having this dialogue back and forth over the internet, and it's basically building confidence in public speaking, and that's a really good business skill and things like that. So while we're kind of getting a little bit off topic as far as how to build a business, I think it's cool. I think it's really important information to know, because to be successful, you have to be confident and be be able to put yourself out there, or you wouldn't want to, you wouldn't have the skills or anything to start your own business in the first place. You said that you got into YouTube before you got into business.
That is correct.
Do you think that you would be able to have started your business if you hadn't gotten into YouTube?
No. And the reason for that being is, like, I was able to communicate in person and whatnot, but at the same time, though, I actually didn't think I was very funny, in my, social groups. So, basically, after a while, after doing YouTube and just realizing, what worked, what didn't work, and, and sometimes just, making the friends that you do on YouTube and just, seeing some of the reactions and, like any YouTube comments, that builds yourself. And it's really amazing, like just like how amazing the YouTube community can be, because I mean, when people gives you a genuine comment about something that you work so hard on, it really builds yourself. And and after time, my friends notice a transformation about how I am in public, and because that, when I was going into business, and when people said that, yeah, Steve, you might actually be presenting on stage about how to motivate yourself and others, I'm like, yeah, sure, I'm all for it.
Yeah, and that's awesome, honestly. Like, people don't realize the kind of effect that, this medium can have on someone. But as a budding, entrepreneur, like, minded person myself, I've definitely seen a change in the past year. And, I'm still in school, so, like, I'm not ready to just go, run a business or anything. But I definitely feel, like, more confident and more prepared for whatever might come my way now than I did before. With all that like, self-motivation out of the way, let's kind of move on to the meat of this, and about, once you figure out the type of person you need to be in order to build your business, again, let's kind of keep it on YouTube for right now. The ways you would have to go about branching out from just putting things on YouTube and seeing how they're received to actually, like, building a network, like, Philip DeFranco, the Fine Brothers, people like that have these huge, like, multi-million-dollar companies. There's a lot of steps in the middle of that.
Yeah.
But I'd say there's a few good ways to do it and a few bad ways to do it. And I kind of want to touch on both of them. So, real quick, I'm just going to kind of take the floor again. The way that a lot of people at, like, our size start is by opening up a merchandise store. I see a lot of people, even, like, with, 300 to 1,000 subscribers or so, that have t-shirts and things like that available. And that's great. It's not a lot of income, but it's something, and it's a way to kind of get your brand out there. That's very important, because every business has a product. If you even look at places like Google, for example, like, they're not a place, they're not a product, they are a service. But you can see things that are Google branded. They sell things that represent them. You kind of have to have that. Like Nintendo, for example, they've been branching out a lot more with, like, Amiibo and things like that. They are a company that just provides a service, again, like video games, but they've started making toys and, other like apparel and things like that. That's all officially licensed, just to have another branch of their company. If you can only do one thing, it's hard to build, like, a big business off of that. You can do that one thing really well, and that's fine. But even, I just heard today, actually, even Chipotle is opening their first burger joint soon, which I thought was crazy. Wow. I know that's like a newsy thing in the discussion. But the point is, Chipotle, king of giant baby-sized burritos, is branching out into the burger market. It could be terrible, but they're doing it. And that's the kind of point I'm trying to make, is you want to build your business around one thing, but make sure it encompasses multiple things. That's kind of my key. I mean, even with you have multiple products that are available on your store. And that's important, because if people only want one thing, or if you only have one thing that people want, then they're only going to go to you for that one thing, and they're going to go elsewhere for the others. If you have all the things people want, they're going to go to you for all of those things because they like your brand.
Absolutely agree. And like, even when you have the initial idea of what you want to market, you always want to think about expansion. How can I add to this? You don't want to remain stagnant. You always want to come up with more ideas of how can I get bigger? how can I add more? And that's even something you can add to YouTube. If you always look for different facets.
Facets.
And that's a word. So if you look into like different things that you can market and bring to people, as far as with you, like when you started YouTube, did you have the score?
No.
Absolutely. See, there we go. You want to try and find new things, new avenues to bring more entertainment, so that you have more, so that people come to you and they're like, hey, this guy's got more than one thing. I'm going to want to come to see because if he doesn't have a certain something that I want today, he'll probably have something else that I might want another day. Or maybe they just love you and they just want all the things.
And if you guys haven't noticed, marketing and business kind of really do go hand in hand. So I'm sorry if anything seems like a repeat from last month, but it really is, all interconnected. That's kind of why we're doing them back to back like this. But yeah, I mean, definitely expansion. You have to start somewhere. But you have to end up somewhere else, or you'll just kind of die out. Which has happened to a lot of companies.
Mm-hmm.
A long time ago, there was a business that provided online grocery store sales. So like you could go to their website, you could buy all your groceries, and they would ship them to you. It was super expensive. Like, it was way more expensive than going to the store and buying these groceries. But it was a service, it was a convenience. It did okay. But Amazon started getting into it. And, Amazon has everything else. They already, corner the market on online sales. So once they started doing grocery sales, this other company went away because that's all they had. And they couldn't compete with the prices of Amazon because they could keep their prices down because they had other things to supplement their online grocery sales. So if you only do one thing, even if you do it really well, that thing's probably going to be more expensive. And it's going to be a lot harder to become the king of it because someone else that does multiple things can still do it about as well, if not just as well. And they're already, well known.
Even when you think about like a pizza joint, if you want to be a successful pizza business, you're not just going to sell pizza. You're going to want to include like wings. You're going to want to include pasta, even garlic bread, chicken, potato wedges. So you want to add something so that there's more variety, and same goes for like on the YouTube side of things too. So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And alternatively, kind of on the bad way to build a business, networks. I'm sure everyone knows about all the different networks out there. I've personally gotten multiple invites into them. I'm sure you have too.
Oh, love it.
Everyone, when they're building their YouTube space, gets so excited about the concept of a network. Like, oh, someone likes my content and they want to sponsor me. But do they? Because if you have 100 subscribers and they're inviting you to be a part of their exclusive network, how exclusive can it really be? Like, I'm not trying to demean anyone out there. I mean, we all start somewhere. That's fine. I was getting those same invites when I was at 100 subscribers. But you look at these contracts, and most people don't even read them. They're just excited. That's kind of what those things bank on. If you look at these contracts, they will take 70% of the pennies you earn, and in return for better exposure.
Better exposure.
Sometimes they do have good things, like they'll have they'll cover the cost of a t-shirt shop, which can come in handy eventually. They'll have access to like licensed music that you wouldn't get otherwise. They'll help you combat copyrights, things like that. I'm not knocking networks in general. I'm just saying a lot of these companies out there that have literally created their business around taking the pennies from small YouTubers are not all they're cracked up to be. And they're just banking on you not knowing any better. So I'm sure you have things to add on that, but I just wanted to put a warning out there. Networks are not a good way to grow your YouTube business.
No. If you want to lose ownership to, something that you're proud of, I mean, basically, it'd be like taking your soul, your YouTube soul, and throwing it to the 4 effing winds. Basically, if you're just throwing at a at a network, because because there's some networks that actually will be like so strict with their policies where like if you're not uploading enough, like they give you shit.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some that like they'll say, if you're with our network, you can have like a certain amount of like songs and whatnot, and they'll either not provide you anything, or they'll say, you can add this is okay, but then all of a sudden you get a copyright strike, and then when you go to network and you're like, hey, what the hell, and they take forever to get back to you. So I see more people getting screwed out of networks these days of them actually getting anywhere.
And a lot of times in these cases, they have to start a new channel that isn't tied to that network.
Yeah.
And sometimes they don't even own the rights to their videos anymore.
No. Who wants to restart their own channel? Absolutely. Not me.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, like, who actually has the time of being able to, like, who actually, like me, I have over 500 videos. Do I have all 500 videos sitting on my desktop? Absolutely not. Not with this hard drive.
I actually have most of mine backed up because I'm paranoid about things like that. But, yeah, like, the point is, the best businesses build themselves from the ground up. They don't take handouts, they don't participate in buyouts, things like that. Like they hold on to their intellectual property, they baby it until it grows into something substantial.
Never sell out.
Right, exactly. That's the point I'm making. The biggest example of this I think of is Grace Helbig. I don't know if you knew about this, like, back in the day or whatever, if you know who she is or anything, but she was with crap.
She was with crap. Wow.
I'll annotate who she was with because I don't remember. But she was with like one of the big networks. Like I don't think it was Machinima or something, but it was something along those lines, like one of them that everyone knows. And she tried to leave, and they owned her name. Like I think it's Grace. Like her channel name or everything was their intellectual property. They basically owned her. They said you can leave, but you're leaving without everything we gave you. Which granted was a lot of stuff that she had and they just took claim to, but, she had, millions of subscribers that they basically claimed ownership of. So when she moved to a new channel, entirely owned by her, basically everyone moved with her, ditched the actual group that, that she was with, because they had multiple, channels underneath them, of course. And now she's doing better than ever than she ever did when she was giving, a good portion of her net worth to this company that made her what she is. When really, real talk for a second, if you are, someone who could get big, like make it in this crazy world of entertainment, you don't need anyone's help.
Absolutely.
That's just the way it is. Like, you can get their help if you want to try to speed along the process or something, but most likely you're going to run into issues where you'll wish you hadn't, and you would just take in the extra time, put in the effort yourself and made it happen. So yeah, it can get really dangerous to look to others for help. So going back to that community aspect we talked about, you want, people that support you and everything like that. You just don't want to sell your soul to the devil to get famous.
Yeah.
There's a fine line, but you want to build a community, not a network, I guess. I don't really know another word, but a negative version of community.
I think the wording for it is kind of weird because like network kind of sounds where it's, like it's just a bit forced and there's not a whole lot of connection there, but a community would probably be the more proper wording for it, because like a community is, warming, welcoming, a place where, people, get together, and especially, like if in a lot of our YouTube circles, a community is like, okay, if I want to joke about something or if I want to play games, there's all these people that I know within my community that would be there if I wanted to play it.
It's people that with shared interest rather than shares. Just shares. If that makes sense to you, business-minded people, what a share is. I thought it was a fun play on words, but maybe not. We'll move on. Yeah, I know it feels like we're kind of, harping on this one thing, but it is key. you really want to have control over your community. And your product, your brand, whatever that is.
Yeah, it's very simple. Just, be a good person, be genuine, be honest with yourself, be honest with, your viewers. And you know what? If you do that, and then, you know what? You'll have a good time on YouTube, and you'll even have a good time, on business too. If you're not genuine, and if you're just, some guy that's like, what's all your business? Then, you know what? Then it's, you're not going to get anywhere.
That's terrifying. Don't be that guy. Yeah, I kind of think of it like, think about the difference between the first, like, Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie and the third Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie. You want to be the first Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie, the one that was, pure to its artistic vision, that was essentially what he set out to make, rather than the one where everyone had their hands in it, and it just turned into a mess of too many people,
Too many cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah. The way you keep your intellectual property yours, pure, is to own it.
Yep.
If you let too many people control your thing, you no longer really own it anymore. You're just an active participant in it.
Yeah, don't throw it to the four winds.
Yes.
Yep.
That's kind of the point of building your own business. You want it to stay your own.
Yeah.
But some general business practices to kind of end this off on. Don't expect to immediately make money. That's kind of my number one thing.
Yep.
Because all businesses are an investment. Mm-hmm. And, like, even, if you opened, like a McDonald's tomorrow, I don't know if they're a franchise, but something that's a franchise tomorrow, it would probably be a good 2 to 3 years before you would actually turn a profit on that business. So if you go in with no money thinking, I can, do this business opportunity, it's going to be an immediate hit. No, you're going to go bankrupt in like a week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I actually have a couple of words of advice to actually add to that, what you said. Be patient. Like you said, it doesn't happen overnight, but, usually when you just wait for the right opportunity, it will come. And the next thing is, don't be afraid to fail. Now, if we turned away opportunities because we are afraid that it would blow up in your faces, then we're not really, then you'll never know what's exactly out there. You have to, you have to take risks sometimes. But at the same time, though, stay innocent, stay genuine, stay honest with yourself. In fact, there's a quote that I actually posted on Twitter a while ago. Make courage a habit. Do something that you're afraid to do every day.
Yeah, and on the note of, staying innocent and things like that, it's really easy to get jaded.
Yeah.
And just kind of let all of this, overwhelm you, and you cannot do good work when you're a cynic. Mm-hmm. You need to be realistic. Again, you can't just assume that everything will be amazing for you and you'll turn a profit immediately and you're going to be the next big thing, because that's also unrealistic. But if you just think the whole world is out to get you and that, nothing you ever do will amount to anything, you're not going to get anywhere, because that mindset is going to make that true. Yeah.
You are what you make of yourself.
Exactly.
And just one last piece of advice is basically be resilient, because there's going to be so many things in life that's going to knock you on your ass. But if you don't get back up, if you don't learn from it and move on from it, then you're basically wasting life's hard lessons, because you never get anywhere without falling on your face at least once or twice, or actually a few times along the way. So you have to be prepared for those. And just be prepared to, move past those.
Exactly. The more you know. And to end this little after-school special, because we actually ended on a good note this time. I think the last few times it's been kind of negative when we ended. I would just like to, for one, say thank you, Steve, for joining me.
You're welcome, Justin.
And since this is the season finale of the score, I know it's sad, I just want to kind of put out a different question for you this time than usual. Our question of the month is about what you would like to see next year in kind of, season 2. As far as topics, guests, don't just say yourself, I'll know. Unless you really do want to be on, that's fine. If you have a topic to talk about. Topics, guests, format changes, things like that. Like, I want to hear your input, because this is a series that I love. This is kind of, my business. I don't expect to make money or anything off of it, but this is kind of my attempt to show that ambition and that drive that you need to be successful and put out something that's different than what everyone else is putting out. And so, I want to take some time away and make sure it's the best it can be. So I want to include you guys in that. So let me know in the comments on Twitter, wherever you feel like doing that, what you would like to see from season 2 of The Score, and who you would like to see from season 2 of The Score. But yeah, do you have any final thoughts or anything for me?
I'm just glad you didn't ask. The question wasn't, is Steve wearing pants? Because the answer's no.
Oh my. I mean, I don't need to ask it now.
Okay. Nope, I'm good here.
Awkward.
Yeah.
Okay.
Awkward.
Anyway. Again, thank you for joining me. Go check out Majiczenith on all the places that I will link. And until next year, have fun.
Do it.
I don't think they understand how important it is for us nerds to catch thousands of Eevees and grind them into food in order to get a top-tier Flareon. You don't understand the struggle, man. The spirit of ripping through pack after pack of booster cards as a kid in order to get that elusive holographic Charizard is alive and well again.